through.
Good afternoon. This is the September 21st, 2023 meeting of the Delaware County Interactive Gaming Revenue Authority. It is 2:03 p.m. I call this meeting to order. Please join me and rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, I'll ask our Secretary, Ron Evans, for a roll call.
So I can see Paul is here, Francis is here, Vincent is here, and I understand Stefan is not going to make it today. And our solicitor, Ms. Frank, also is here.
Thank you. You should have all received the agenda. The members received it last week, and it was available on the SIGRA website on Tuesday by the required time by law. So I will, just to streamline the meeting, I will make a motion to approve the agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose, abstain, motion carried. At this time, we will open up the meeting for public comment concerning the agenda. Is there any public comment concerning the agenda? No. And there is no one from the public in this meeting, so we will proceed. You should have all received the minutes that were done judiciously by our secretary for the August 2023 DeSigra meeting. I make a motion to approve the minutes of the August 2023 DeSigra meeting.
So moved.
All those questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Minutes are approved. In our treasurer's absence, I will read the treasurer's report submitted by Stefan Roots. He had a conflict meeting today. He wanted to be here, but unfortunately, both of the meetings were scheduled at 2 p.m. 2 p.m. today. So the opening balance was $130,053.46. $77,030 of checks were paid, leaving an ending balance of $208,852.86 on August 31st. And as of the 20th, which was yesterday, the bank balance was $204.34. Checks that have cleared since the August 2023 Treasurer's Report are Eastern University, $3,000, Bountiful Blessings, $1,000, Share Food Program, $25,000, Course Vector, $900, 21st Century Media, $208.52. Outstanding checks are $10,000 from Surrey Senior Services and a $150 check for reimbursement to Stefan Roots for July Course Vector payment that requires my signature. So it's kind of floating out there, but it needs my signature before it can be deposited. This treasury report was issued on 8/17. Oh, the treasury report listed issued on 8/17 listed the 8/3/23 deposit prematurely on top of the August treasurer's report generated from the July bank statement. I chose not to list the 8/3/23 deposit on the top section of this September report, even though it normally would be on this report, because the 8/3/23 deposit is on the August bank statement. That deposit was $155,000, $869.80.
So I see an error. On the bank statement from TD, it says that on August 3rd, check 1152 for $10,000 was cashed, but it lists as an outstanding check here.
Okay,
So,
oh, you're saying check number 1152 was cashed?
according to the TD bank statement, it was cashed on August 3rd.
August 3rd.
That actually makes me feel a lot better about the check and Surrey Senior Services.
Yeah, they are totally on top of things.
Yeah.
Usually I was surprised, but then when I went back to look at when the check was written, because that's not clear on the report, it says it was cashed on August 3rd. So I wonder if there's, I mean, assuming that the totals are correct and that they square with the bank statement, perhaps it was a different $10,000 check that's outstanding?
I don't think so. We gave the other senior services, we presented to them, correct?
Right.
At the meeting, so they have that check.
Well, that wasn't Surrey?
No, that was, senior.
Community services.
Yeah, so I think what,
So,
I would theorize that the correct bank balance is correct, that this may be an error, maybe this was
Yeah.
brought on from the previous report.
right.
I also have, go ahead, I'm sorry, excuse
No,
me.
go ahead.
I've also been in communication with Surrey Senior Services because they were open to a symbolic check presentation, and we've just been messing up on the dates. So I'm guessing that they have their check and they've deposited it.
So,
So-
I would just, I'm willing to move the adoption of the treasurer's report, well, perhaps rather than approving the treasurer's report, given the error, perhaps we
We can
take a
approve
look, it gets corrected and we approve it next month.
we can approve the treasurer's report minus this one outstanding check.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
But that makes me nervous about the numbers.
I may be wooden-headed, but I'm looking at the very top of this. It says we opened with 130. We got 77,000 checks paid, which would seem to move it down to about a $60,000 balance. But this says we have 208, and I can't make any sense of that.
Well, the 155 deposit at the bottom.
Those numbers don't work out.
Yeah, I think theirs needs to be looked at a little bit more carefully.
okay.
Do you want a motion to delay discussion of the treasurer's report until next
Well,
month?
there's a motion and a second, so I'll call the vote.
Okay,
There was a second, right? We're discussing,
Or, yes, there was.
yes.
Or somebody could move to table the motion.
I'd like to move to table it.
Second.
And that I was the motion.
All those in favor of the table, the motion to approve the September 2023 treasurer's report? Say aye.
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 Opposed, abstained, motion table.
All right.
Thank you. I'll make a motion to ratify e-vote of August 18th, 2023 to reimburse Stefan Roots $150 for his payments to Course Vector. Do I have a second?
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carried. That's just a symbolic move. We did vote for that electronically. At this time, I'll open it up to the solicitor.
The only thing the solicitor has is that I noticed on the agenda, there was a motion to put some ads, and the ads were to be put into the Spirit. That caused me to look online to see what publications are on the official President Judge's list of approved publications, and I am pleased to report the Spirit of Chester, or Chester Community Spirit, is approved as a newspaper of general circulation, so we can put ads with them. In fact, I went out and bought one just to see
They're
something.
free, right?
and
I just picked
found-
up one for free. I just think it's
No,
cool.
that one of the requirements to be a newspaper of general circulation is you have to charge a fee. So there is a box right here on Orange Street for 50 cents. You too can buy your own copy of the Spirit, and within it were ads from Springfield Township and Ridley Township. So I knew there was a lot of controversy for years. The Town Talk always wanted to be one. They didn't charge. They had a nominal price of 25 cents, but they were never approved, and there's quite a few approved now, including Town Talk. This is as of May 15th, 2017. So I would imagine they're going to be cheaper than the Daily Times.
And then the county president judge makes up that list.
Makes up a list of approved newspapers of general circulation on which legal ads can be placed.
Yeah, boy.
Any other comments?
No, nothing else, thank you.
Any questions? Thank you. Before I move on to old business, we have a mission. It is on our agenda. I haven't read it in a while, but I just wanted to lay the context and foundation of this meeting. I'd like to read the mission. The mission of the DeSigra is to improve the quality of life in Delaware County. And DeSigra stands for Delaware County Interactive Gaming Revenue Authority. That's why there's a "the" in front of it. We seek to accomplish our mission by investing in economic and community development, emergency services, and nonprofit organizations with an emphasis on under-resourced communities. DeSigra is committed to the values of diversity, equity, inclusion, and creating a sense of belonging in all aspects of our operations. They are central to our mission in serving an increasingly diverse county that includes underrepresented groups. We recognize that varied perspectives, experiences, and backgrounds create a vibrant, innovative, and growing community. So thank you for allowing me to read our mission. Okay. At this time, we'll move on to old business. One of the items I have on here is a discussion of grants application period of 1 month instead of 3 months for some categories, and that was something that I am like to discuss. Some of the grants, they're long in duration, and in some cases we wait until the 3 months are expired. In some months we are able to fulfill that grant allocation within a month. So I'd like us to play around, or not play around, try a grants application period of a month, especially if I think we're doing a better job of communicating these grants to the community, and we're getting a quicker response. And like one of the things that is happening this month is we have a slew of grants because the timing varied between the two grant categories. So I'd like us to explore 1 month grants, and we can put those into the different proposals for the grant categories. So I just wanted to see if anyone else had any perspectives or comments on the grant application period.
I mean, I guess I never really thought of us as having a deadline before, but I think you're saying you want a deadline to try to make things a little more administratively easy for us. So they're not trickling in forever and we have to worry about responding.
Yeah, there's inconsistency. So in some cases we may have a grant for 3 months, but we're doing them on a rolling basis, and then in some cases we wait for the 3 months to be over and then we vote on all 3 of them at the same time. Where someone may have applied in June and they're waiting until October for us to vote on that grant. Whereas if we get enough grants in the month of June, we could essentially vote on it in July and not have grant categories overlap with each other. Because that's what's happening today, is we have grant categories overlapping with each other. And if we vote on all these, I have to send out the grant agreement forms to all of them after county council approves them. And that's going to be a huge task because there's a lot of grants.
Yeah.
So if we did them, go ahead, Francis.
I just think it's a case-by-case basis, and we probably should be careful about issuing RFPs too closely on the heels of other RFPs, but we're sort of catching up with the fact that we started the year with such a generous balance, which is not going to happen in January. In January, we're going to have to be a little bit more careful with timing. I don't know that we need to really lock ourselves into a particular time period for all of the proposals. I would think it would be on a case-by-case basis.
Okay. It was more of a observation or
Yeah.
discussion. I'm not saying it's a hard and fast rule. That's why I put it on here as a discussion item.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, I mean, I could be wrong, but it sounds like you're both saying something similar. Paul, you want to try out a 1 month period, and Francis is saying on a case-by-case basis, we could alter the amount of time that we give for proposals to come in. So I think we just have to find a match, which is to say, like, do we want to try 1 month on the next RFP, or is that RFP not the appropriate place to try 1 month? But it sounds like we're kind of close enough.
Let me ask a question to our solicitor. Because this was an issue with I think the insecurity grant. I believe that was, the RFP had the deadline August? But then the application says December, so I think that was
By
a mistake.
RFP,
The request for proposals.
The notice in the paper about the application.
And the actual document on our website.
well, the application is the document on our website, and that said December 31st. You're saying RFP, meaning something that.
What
we
he
approved.
advertised in the paper. So I guess my question is, if, let's say we launch a new grant October 1st, and we say the
Different
deadline,
category.
for a different category, we say the deadline is October 31st,
First come, first served.
first come, first served. However, we decide here at our meeting, we want to keep the grant open, maybe because it didn't fulfill the grant allocation. Do we have to do another announcement after that initial grant deadline has surpassed?
We certainly would do another announcement because the board is going to vote to extend. The question is, do we have to put another notice in the newspaper? And I don't
Yes.
believe we have to after initially doing it.
Okay, so we can have a deadline date in the initial notice,
Right.
but then at our meeting, we can vote to extend the deadline. And since it's public record,
Right. You couldn't vote to shorten the deadline.
correct,
Having advertised it.
But another way to say it is not to use the word deadline, but to say applications will be accepted through November 30th, but the applications are being funded on a first come, first served basis, or through November 30th, or until funds are depleted, comma, whichever date is sooner.
okay. And I don't know if we have that language in our grants now.
Maybe we need to do that going forward, because it is the reality of the way we're operating. Even if we say a deadline of December 31st, if we've given all the money away in November, we have no commitment to extending the grants, increasing the pool. So
Right.
if I'm seeing that in the paper, if I'm seeing that language, I'm thinking I better get my proposal in, as opposed to, oh, the deadline is December 31st, I'll wait until December.
Well, so I agree that the language, especially first come, first serve, will spark in the applicant the urgency to get the application in, and I think that's helpful. I'm just not sure exactly what we mean by that, in the sense that we're not, we take in all the applications and evaluate them. It's not as if somebody.
We may need to change that to consideration of grants or first come, first serve.
I don't think we need
And I
to
think
even
that-
say it if we say applications are accepted through whatever the date we decide is reasonable, or until funds are depleted, whichever date comes first.
Okay, I think I
Okay.
understand what you're saying by accepted. Accepted doesn't necessarily mean approved.
Exactly.
Correct, okay.
Do we
Okay.
even have to state a deadline? Can we just, maybe internally, kind of know we're not going to be considering it beyond that point?
What, I think we're trying to create some urgency in the applicant to not
Wait forever.
wait forever and then backload us.
I think it
Doing-
helps the applicant to give them a little bit of an understanding of what's happening.
Time frame.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, thank you. This has been useful. I think we'll work on the language, and now we know that we can extend something past it at a meeting, if the funds haven't been depleted, and not have to, announce again.
Because we've effectively said what we're doing, and we're not changing what we're doing.
Right. And I don't think we haven't extended a deadline on any of the grant
No.
on any of the grant categories. Okay, thank you.
We've extended the amount of money.
Correct,
but not the
correct,
date,
right. The next item is a discussion that all grant applications must be legible, complete for progress to consideration, and making available an electronic version such as a Google Forms. I'll bring this up because some of the grant applications aren't complete. and then we have to, we shouldn't be in the case of having to follow up, and it's pretty much me, Ron and myself.
Well,
that are
I
going
point it
back.
out to you if I see it, that doesn't make any sense to me, and then you say, okay, I'll take care of it.
Right, on the ones that so I've been facilitating the emergency services one, and you may see something that I don't see, and then I have to reach back out to the organization.
Yeah.
But you've also had to do it with the grants that you have to facilitate. And I don't know if that's, I feel like I'm a professor and asking somebody to resubmit their work.
Can you give us an example of what you're saying?
The amount not requested?
They don't put the dollar
That's a
amount.
big one.
Actually, I remember one applicant requested 1,000 one place and 10,000 another place. So I asked them, what do you want?
Yeah.
And I think they came back, sorry about that, I meant 10,000.
Or
I'll
not
bet.
having the backup documentation,
So
such,
this is-
especially for reimbursements such as receipts and so forth.
Yeah, unfortunately, it is work. I mean, we have this conversation at the foundation because, you know, we have this hard and fast deadline of when, and then the system stops accepting proposals. So we always encourage people to get things in a little bit earlier because if there's an issue, we have to go back
do,
out to them.
okay.
And that's been always our debate. My feeling is we shouldn't have to work for this. It's your job to submit the information. But our
But it's
team
common.
they feel, look, organizations need help. We want to fund good projects.
Okay.
Just because they made a mistake on the application doesn't mean it's a good project. So it comes down to if you're willing to continue to do the work.
Well, and I think that's 100% right, but I think we've got to be cognizant of who we are and who we aren't, right? Like there are some funders that have a whole staff of program officers, and it's their job every day to work with applicants and create capacity in the nonprofit community. We're a pretty lean
We're all
funding
volunteers,
organization of volunteers. So I don't know that it's realistic for us to be as gracious and helpful as organizations with big staffs.
We may
Or
wanna-
moderate staff. I mean, I'm not trying to.
Oh, I understand. Right.
We may want to emphasize certain parts on the application to stand out, so people will complete those parts of the application. So we may use some boldface in a future application to make that available. And I was also telling Ron, because he got a lot of the food insecurity grants, and I got a lot of the EMS grants. You know, I want to hear your perspectives, and also from our solicitor. If we use a document such as Google Forms to create a link that will allow them to fill out all of those categories and criteria, it'll go directly onto a spreadsheet, which is what we're doing now. Is we're taking the physical form or digital form, and then we're transposing that information over to a spreadsheet. And could that be a good interim option while we're exploring the grant making software? And do you have any concerns, privacy issues or anything else?
Who gets to see what you're saying?
The authority would see it.
Well,
It would be shared with the authority or available to the authority.
I don't see any problem with that.
Okay.
If it goes outside the authority, that would raise additional
No,
issues.
no.
Well, and I think we could probably create a setting where they're not able to click submit unless all of the fields have been
okay.
completed, right? So that helps both sides. I do think hopefully it's a very short-term issue in that we're pretty actively pursuing back-end support and hopefully end up, you know, starting January with a more robust process. So hopefully we're talking about a pretty short window here.
All right. Well, when we do our next grant, we'll work to enhance the application, the Microsoft Word or PDF application, and we'll also convert that to a Google form. We'll pass it among the authority before it gets approved, and then we'll make it available to the solicitor to put in it. And you know, maybe 5 people will go via the Google form and submit, and then maybe 5 will go through the regular paper. But that's 5 that we would have to put on a spreadsheet rather than 10.
Right.
So that would,
And you could also put a last sentence at the bottom that says, please review your proposal
Before
one more
submitting.
time to make sure
Okay.
all information has been clearly submitted.
All right, cool. All right, at this time, a budget update from Francis.
Okay, so I took a little bit of time, given everything that we're moving out the door right now.
Thank you for printing this, 'cause
Sure. And Frank, you want a copy too? There you go.
Thank you.
So, I didn't put every dollar amount like the 150 in there, or the, I can't remember if I put in the 900 and the 208, but, I wanted to look at, we're now wrapping up the third quarter, we're at the end of September, and we've got the emergency grants, if we approve the increase to 75,000, that's in yellow. If we approve the Lansdowne mural, that's 20, and then I moved the possibility of another fund grant going out the door for in October or November. I actually was originally going to suggest increasing the arts and culture pool to 100 from 50, but I think the point that let's see what comes in. We can always increase the pool if we think we can afford it, but if we say 100 going out the gate, then suddenly we're scrambling to find 100 when I think we're gonna get 100, but you'd never know that, so. So that takes us to, ending the fourth quarter with 59, and keep in mind, that assumes we're bringing in the same, deposit amount in August, September, October, at the beginning of November, that we brought in the second quarter, and it actually could be as much as 155 or more, which would give us a little bit more to play with. So I'm not gonna promise that every penny is on the penny, but it just gives us a feel for where we're gonna end the year if we continue down the track that we're.
So you're saying if the third quarter payment, which we will get,
We got it already, the third quarter, we got it on August 3rd.
That's 155.
Right.
That's on your financial- that's on-
No,
In the
wait a
ca,
minute.
in terms of cash
First quarter.
received,
It's right here,
Comes in the
August 3rd.
first quarter of the next year.
no, we're in the third quarter now.
I
Right,
understand.
we got on August 3rd,
we
we
received
brought
it
in
during the third
155.
quarter.
That
not
was the
a-
second quarter.
Right, but she has it by a
But
cash
the cash
basis.
came in on August 3rd,
Okay.
all right?
I guess what I'm saying is the third quarter is
In
July, August, September. We're still currently in September.
Correct,
We will get notification of that third quarter payment late October,
Right,
and we receive it early November.
which is the fourth quarter.
Are we assuming that that's 155,870 or
No,
136?
if you look online right next to
November, okay, I
I'm
see.
when I originally did this, I made I keep rolling the numbers higher,
Right.
but I didn't want to go from 136 to 155.
Okay,
It could be more than
right,
155.
but I appreciate this because this is being cautious,
Yeah,
and
always.
it's still giving us, depending on what happens today and next month, a reasonably healthy balance at the end of the year to take care of our overhead cost.
Yeah,
So-
the way we're running at this rate, I mean, it'll be interesting to see where we are in the fourth quarter. If we bring in 155, then we're running at income of 550 to 600, just thinking ahead to the budget next year. And our administrative costs, not assuming we're hiring a firm to run our back office, are about 25,000. And then the balance is for grants and possibly to have someone run our back office. So I'm very comfortable with all the proposals that we have, all the grant recommendations we have today, because I can see we can more than afford this and are likely to be able to afford even more, which is great.
So under key partner grants, you have the 20,000 in the third quarter, that's for the Lansdowne mural.
Correct.
And then 20,000 in fourth quarter?
Yes, was for if we wanted to fund the literacy project again.
Okay,
If you
right.
run across the line, they were originally
Oh.
in this quarter, but we have her coming in October to present and introduce herself to us. She's their new director. We did fund them, I think we gave them 25, a year or two ago. we
Yeah,
clearly
okay.
can afford to fund them again if we are comfortable. So that's where we are.
Yeah, thanks for doing this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good
this is
stuff.
great. Thank you.
Good stuff.
Go ahead, Vince.
No, it's just very
Oh,
helpful, and I mean, the cash basis point is, is very important, whenever you have these budget conversations. Some people are accruing it, and some people are looking at it on a cash basis, and so it's helpful to know.
We don't have enough money to accrue.
It's
Let's
a
be
lot of
real there.
money.
It's a lot of money, but we're moving cash out the door quickly, and we
Right.
can't afford, we don't want a situation where we make a grant commitment, you show up and present a grant, and we don't have it, obviously, we don't have the
The
cash.
check
in
of the
account.
bounces.
Oh, that would be really bad.
Call Frank.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to see us leave $500,000 in the bank at the end of the year. But I think, I want us to still be cautious and move at a reasonable pace.
But you can
I-
see
there-
we had originally budgeted to end the year at 46, which more than covers our
Right.
overhead. I'm sorry, I interrupted.
Oh, no problem.
And while it's great that we get this cash flow because that's real, keep in mind the auditors are going to come in and move it around. They're going to do it on an accrual basis. For
Right.
example, where we list, because we received 110,000 in the first quarter, they know that it was for a quarter ended
2022.
December 31st, and they're going to take that money and put it back.
Right.
They write to me and say, do I have any outstanding bills as of January?
Right.
Or
But in reality, I think I wrote it down somewhere over here. If everything is approved today, I think I wrote it somewhere. Yeah. We may actually, even though it's a mixture of $2022 and $2023, we may distribute anywhere from approximately $510,000 to $560,000 this year, this calendar year, which is very
Over
impressive.
$500,000.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
this calendar year. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Francis has 539 on there.
Yeah.
It's right in the
Well,
middle.
thank you.
And I'm sorry, Mr.
No
Chairman,
problem.
just a final thought here. Given the idea, well, I agree that I don't want an excessive balance at the end of the year, but given the idea that we know we may be increasing our overhead expenses, having a
For next year.
for next year, having a strategic reserve to make sure we can account for that additional expense, and also keeping an eye on building capital that allows us to make more substantial grants with larger impact is definitely a goal that I have for the authority. And it needs to be, we need to balance that interest with making sure the money is put out into the community as quickly as possible. And so those are just, competing interests that I want to make sure we're all, thinking about.
Yeah, we'll be planning before you know it.
Yeah.
Probably November and December. All right, thank you. I want to thank Vince for starting the process of looking at the finance outsourcing and grant making outsource. I know he's reached out to at least one organization that can do those services. Given that we have professional services and almost practically everything that we've done that's been substantial, we have done an RFP for those services. So I'd like to I'm not making a motion right now, but I'd like to, I'm just expressing my interest to do an RFP for those services. So probably at the next meeting, maybe at the November meeting, I may put that on the board, on the floor or on the agenda, and hopefully award that sometime in December. So if that's a good timeline.
So I did have a second meeting, this time with the Commerce Center about their ability and interest and potential to provide those services to us. And that was a productive and interesting meeting, and I think they are very interested. I also followed up with the foundation about the first meeting, and they are also very interested in helping us, and will have more information and a proposal for us, whether we put out an RFP or not. One thing that I sort of came across in these conversations is the idea that other, and maybe the solicitor can speak to this, other similarly situated authorities in the county are at inception housed underneath the county.
Right.
And so this authority was created independent of the Commerce Center. And that decision is obviously made well above our pay grade. But we may want to, and I don't know exactly how this works on any level, but we may want to check back in with county council about what their preference may or may not be in terms of, I don't know if they, I don't want to say the wrong thing here, Frank, but I don't know if they would want us to put out an RFP or not, if they are now comfortable with us at the Commerce.
Okay. I see.
I think we should check with them.
I do too.
Okay.
And also, I would suggest that the foundation team not be asked to put together a proposal at this point. Because what the proposal looks like could be very different depending on what the RFP is.
Okay.
And you
Fair.
may not issue an RFP, you may decide you want to go with Commerce. I just don't want people spending time on
Right.
anything that
That's
isn't
very
really
fair.
worthwhile.
Oh,
Okay.
that's very fair. Thank you for that.
And I should have expressed that at the inception of asking Vince to look into it, but then after, in retrospect, given one of my values, and I think the authority's values is transparency and openness and fairness, I think that just makes sense to do that.
So what is the next step for the two of you to have a conversation with Mark, with Laura?
I think
Well, I spoke with Laura.
Rich?
So I think maybe either Paul or we should have a conversation with the county
Council.
executive director or council or,
Christine Ruther,
have a,
she's our liaison.
liaison, yeah.
okay.
She's our liaison, but Elaine is the Commerce
Commerce
Department's liaison.
Okay.
So I'm wondering if, well, I'll leave it to the two
Yeah,
of
we'll
you,
figure it
but
out.
I think that the only thing I would say to you is the sooner the better.
Okay.
Right.
Because if you really want this to start on January 1st,
You got to start it now.
people need to know that this is gonna be
Right.
part of their work plan.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
No, that's very right. Fair.
All right, and the other item I just wanted to mention is the work will continue to transition the website, email, and treasurer duties for 2024. I did have a brief discussion with Stefan earlier in the week, and we will get together in November and December to start that transition and making sure that we have all the links and bank accounts and stuff like that ready for 2024.
And did, oh my goodness, I'm looking right at her, the secretary of the county, did she put the? Ann Coogan, did she put the, opening up on the website, do we know?
I will check.
Because I'd like to push that out, or I assume we'd like to recruit whoever we would like to have replace the irreplaceable Stefan.
Okay, thank you. That's all the old business I have for today. Let's move on to new business. And I'm going to streamline this because it's a lot. All the grants are subject to county council approval as I will repeat them. Authority members, please indicate if you have comments or questions after the grant is seconded. I'll ask if there's questions or comments, and if you need to abstain. Okay? Are we ready? So any increase in the allocation is not subject to county council approval, but the individual grants are subject to county council approval because they will vote on them one by one.
Understood.
All right. So I will make the motions, and authority members can second if they desire, and then we can vote on it. Is everybody ready? Lock down.
We're ready.
Motion to increase total $50,000 grant allocation for emergency services grants to total $75,867.89 for period of June 1 to August 31st, 2023 applicants.
Second.
Can I just ask about the August 31st? This goes back to the prior discussion. So you're kind of saying
These are the
The
applicants.
applications have to have been made through that period.
This was on the RFP and this was on the application
Yeah,
for
okay.
this specific grant.
Okay,
So
you can
anyone
try
that
it.
submitted a
A
grant
3-month
after
period.
September 1st was not eligible for this grant.
Okay.
It was more than enough time.
Yes. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Do I have to say abstain?
No.
Okay. Motion carried. Okay, now these are the individual grants. Motion to approve $2,500 grant for safe corridors.
Second.
Question, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Next motion. Motion to approve $2,500 grant for Prospect Park Police Department.
Second.
I will make a comment. I will not abstain. I am a candidate in the borough of Prospect Park, but I do not financially benefit from this grant. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Thank you. Motion to approve $2,500 grant for Prospect Park Fire Company.
Second.
I will repeat that I am a candidate in Prospect Park. I do not personally financially benefit by this grant. Others in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Thank you. Motion to approve $2,450 grant for Narberth Ambulance Haverford Division.
Second.
Question, comment?
So this is Delaware County, Haverford
Yes.
is Delaware County, but.
Yep.
Yes, it is the Haverford Division of the Narberth Ambulance. They do cover two divisions.
Haverford Township is part of Delaware County.
Yeah.
Yes.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carried. Motion to approve $2,500 grant for Darby Township Police Sunshine Club.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Abstain? I'm sorry, oppose? Motion carried. It's a lot. Motion to approve $7,500 grant for Eddystone Borough Police Department.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carried. Motion to approve $5,000 grant for Media Borough Police Department.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Motion carried. Motion to approve $2,500 grant for Morton Police Department.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carried. Motion to approve $2,484 grant to Darby Borough Police Department.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Motion carried. Motion to approve $4,500 grant for Yaden Borough Police Department.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carried. Motion to,
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, if I could just pause on Yaden for 1 second and just, I wanted to make this comment generally about all of these grants. I just want to highlight how important it is to encourage the accreditation process in these police departments, and anything that we can do in the application process going forward to encourage departments to pursue accreditation is, I think, a critical public policy priority, and something that the authority would do well to help move the communities forward on.
thank you. We do have, there was the incentive in there
Absolutely.
that did that. If you think that there could be additional language when we do this next year, please feel free to submit that.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, sure. All right, you ready? Motion to approve $1,785.28 grant for Media, Fire, and Hook Ladder Company.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Motion carried. Motion to approve $7,500 grant for Brookhaven Police Department.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carried. Motion to approve $2,363.90 grant for Aston Township Police Department.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Motion carried. Motion to approve $5,005 grant for Upper Darby Township Police Department.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carried. Motion to approve $2,500 grant for Parkside Borough Police Department.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carried. Motion to approve $2,500 grant for Marple Township Ambulance Corps.
Second.
Second.
In favor?
You had this in red.
Yeah, I needed some information, but I got the
Got it,
information.
okay.
Yeah. Mhm. Thank you. In favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Motion carried. Motion to approve $5,000 grant for Upper Chichester Township Police Department.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carried. Motion to approve $894.81 grant for Lower Chichester Police Department. Thank you, Lower Chichester.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Motion carried. Motion to approve $2,500 grant for Boothwyn Fire Company ambulance.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Motion carried. Motion to approve $2,246 grant for Eddystone Fire Company.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Motion carried. Motion to approve $2,500 grant for Trainer Police Department.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Motion carried. Motion to approve $6,639.79 grant for Marple Police Department.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Let's move on to the next category. This still falls below the initial allocation, so we can vote on these individually. These are all still subject to county council approval. Motion to approve $10,000 grant for Greener Partners.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Aye. Oppose? I'm getting my cobwebs are coming in place.
Deep breath.
It sounded like you voted to.
I did vote to approve. I voted to approve,
Right,
yes.
yeah,
Okay.
and I thought you voted to.
Motion carries. Motion to approve $10,000 grant from Murphy's Given Market.
Second.
Second.
In favor?
Yay.
Oppose? Motion carried. Motion to approve $10,000 grant for Mitzvah Circle.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carried. Motion to approve $10,000 grant for Multicultural Community Family Services.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carried. Motion to approve $10,000 grant for Centro de Apoyo Comunitario.
It's-
Please forgive me if I messed up the
It's
pronunciation.
communitario.
Communitario.
It's
Right.
okay.
I apologize.
No, it's all right.
Motion?
Second. I would like to just, well, actually, before I guess we haven't voted yet, so.
You can make a comment just after it's been seconded. This is
Okay.
open for
That's when you
comments,
comment.
comments and questions.
Well, to the extent that the board chooses to approve this grant, I do understand that it's not perfectly formulated at this time, but it
isn't?
it is a very valuable and effective organization in the community, and so I do think we can and should work with them to improve it going forward. They want to provide gift cards for the purchase of food items as opposed to food items. And in general, I could understand being skeptical about that. They are a very well-connected and knowledgeable organization with regard to the community that they serve, and I do believe that it will be effective. And if the board chooses not to go in that direction and to make them go back to the drawing board, I do understand. But they have been a very good community partner. They are very knowledgeable and effective in a community that we don't have a lot of organizations serving the Spanish-speaking immigrant community so specifically, and so I do think there's value, and to the extent that the board sees fit to approve, I do appreciate it.
I'm reluctant, but given your comments, I'm more inclined to support. I still have some reservations.
Regarding the gift cards issue?
Yes, not due to any fraud. I just don't think it's the most effective way to purchase food items at retail cost.
That's interesting. I will say it's one of the more reputable nonprofits that we work with in the community. They stepped up in the pandemic in a way that not a lot of organizations did, and they have a very collaborative approach, egoless approach to everything. I mean, they just work beautifully with the multicultural community, family services. They're very sort of behind the scenes. They work with a lot of undocumented, particularly women, in the community, and we've had a wonderful experience working with them.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carried. Motion to approve $10,000 grant for Petaway Pursuit Foundation.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carried. Motion to approve $10,000 grant for YMCA of Eastern Delaware County.
Second.
I'll make a comment. I felt the other grants were more detailed. This one just listed generic expansion. I was not clear on what that is, so I will not be approving this grant. In favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Nay. Motion carries. Motion to approve $10,000 grant for City Team Chester.
Second?
In favor?
Aye.
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 Oppose? Motion carried. Motion to approve $10,000 grant for Chester Housing Initiatives.
Second.
I want to make a comment. This is separate from the Chester Housing Authority.
Right.
This is a separate entity.
But it's
It's
under
their,
that.
it's under their umbrella, though. It's their 501c3.
Yeah.
Are you saying
It's
that
a
because-
separate, I believe it's a separate entity from the Chester Housing Authority.
Okay.
They may, I don't know if there's a sponsor per se or the relationship, but they are a separate entity.
Okay. Do we have a motion and a second?
Yes.
Okay.
Those in favor, please say
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Motion to approve $7,500 grant for Chester Upland Youth Soccer.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay.
So we have $2,500 left in the bank.
Yes.
And we have had 2 other requests come in the last couple of weeks.
Okay. So I'll make this comment. Any authority member can contact me with a motion for grants, and I'll put it on the agenda. So if you want to increase the allocation, if you want to put a motion of those grants on the floor, I will put it on the agenda. That's my policy. All right, so let's move on to arts and culture grants. And I'm open to amendments on this grant. Motion to establish arts and culture total grant allocation of $50,000 with individual grants of up to $10,000 to Delco Arts participating organizations and other nonprofit organizations with an arts and or cultural mission. Grant applications would commence October 1st, 2023 through October 31st, 2023 with consideration on a rolling basis.
I'm always it's never clear to me what rolling basis means. I mean, first come, first served.
Well, let's see if we have a second.
No.
Before we talk about, okay, I'll second it. for
Then we
conversation.
can have a comment, I believe,
Do
and we
want
can
it-
be open to amendments as well.
Right, do we want, instead of having that last sentence, the sentence that we sort of played with and said, applications accepted through, are you saying October 31st? Or November 30th, or until funds are depleted, whichever date comes first? I'm only concerned that that date is short, but even if it's October 31st.
Would you like to amend it?
Applications, can we amend the last sentence to read, applications accepted through October 31st, or until funds are depleted, comma, whichever date comes first?
I mean, I'm happy to second that,
It's only a month.
but I don't know if you wanted to say November 15th, like, I don't know if you wanted to push out the date and add that.
Well, I'm not sure.
Okay.
If you do November 30th,
We're gonna do November 15th.
it's going to be a tight put if the arts organizations want this funding in this calendar year, and I know different organizations have different tax years, it's going to be tight because there is we have to wait for county council to approve. Then I have to get the grant agreement out to them, and then there's a delay if
Sure.
we mail the checks.
Okay, so then we're sticking with October 31st. I would like to amend the motion to read, instead of the last sentence, starting with grant and ending with basis. Maybe it's fine as it is.
This is just the crux of the grant. It's not the actual grant application.
Yeah.
So you can wordsmith the grant application as long as it holds this spirit to be true in the grant application.
You think, really?
Yes.
Oh,
I don't want to speak for Ron, but I think Ron and I are both confused about what we mean by rolling basis.
I thought I was the only one.
No, I mean, I think the way it's meant in the past is that we usually had like a 3-month period. And if we awarded all the money in the first month, there was nothing left. So it's a rolling, we're, as the applications come in, we're considering them, we're voting on them, we're not waiting until the end of the 3-month period. In this case, it's only 1 month, so I don't know that it really makes any difference.
So we
Right,
could
'cause
take
it's not-
out rolling basis, you're saying, maybe.
Because we're not approved. It's
Yeah.
not like they come in on Monday and we approve them on Tuesday.
But you can see over a 3-month
Over a
period, it
3
does
month,
make a
yes, yes,
difference.
yes. No.
So maybe we don't need that last sentence at all. Maybe we're just saying grant proposals are due October 31st.
Correct. But as they're coming in, they're going on the spreadsheet, and then towards the end of the month, probably after October 31st, I'll reach out to you guys to evaluate them, and then based on the evaluations and your recommendations, I put them on the agenda. Kind of the way we're doing them now.
For November.
I'm just thinking back to applying to college, right? If it was on a rolling basis, you better get your application in.
Before the seats are filled.
Yeah.
Well, this isn't really that,
This-
even, I don't know that it really is that in a 1-month period. Because we get a fabulous proposal in on October 20th, and everything that comes in on October 2nd could be DRAC.
Right.
So you're saying we should keep, Vince, are you saying we should keep rolling basis in?
No,
I don't
What do you think we can
not
take
on a
it out?
1 month.
Okay,
not on.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
on a 1 month.
okay.
So it's simply.
you're making an
okay,
amendment to
I am making an
remove-
amendment, remove the last sentence and replace it with proposals are due by October 31st. Period.
Can you write that down?
Yeah, I had October 1st when until funds were depleted, whichever comes first. So you're
But
just
I'm
changing
not,
it to-
I'm not suggesting that
Okay.
now.
I mean, we do want to create urgency for the applicant, but I guess we don't want to be disingenuous about how we do
Well, they don't
it.
know when funds are depleted, correct? Until we vote on them at the
Right.
meeting.
Right.
So it might be
Well,
unnecessary language.
And we say there's $50,000 in the pot, so you get in too late, it might be gone.
If you get it, you could get it in on October 31st, and you could be just as competitive as somebody who gets it in on October 2nd.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
We might just have to live with that.
Because it's only a month.
I second the amendment.
unless you want it to be first come, first served. If you
Sounds like
think
the
that,
original motion is intact. Sorry for interrupting.
Right.
That nobody has suggested a revision or amendment to your motion after, I thought she withdrew it.
no, we're
She
still
made-
talking
she made
about
an
it.
amendment.
No one seconded my amendment.
I
So we're
just-
just talking about
I
what the
just second,
amendment will
I
look
just
like.
seconded your amendment.
Okay, but
Oh.
the way it actually works is, did the maker of the motion accept the amendment?
Ah, right.
Or you make a new,
Right.
say you vote the original
I
motion.
accept the
and-
I accept the amendment.
But what is the amendment?
Your last sentence that
It's-
Ron's gonna capture.
Applications are due October 31st.
So is that the amendment that we want?
I think we should just leave it as it is.
You mean grants would compense with consideration on a rolling basis?
It's
Okay.
just it's just
All
our
right.
motion.
I'm withdrawing my amendment.
Okay, I agree to your withdrawing of your amendment.
Okay, phew,
You don't have to agree to
It
it.
felt like that's where Frank
In
wanted.
favor on the original motion.
trying to help us.
All those in favor on the,
Aye.
any additional questions or comments?
Oh, boy.
No.
All those in favor of the original motion?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to authorize solicitor to advertise arts and culture grant in Daily Times on or around October 1st, 2023.
I thought that was the spirit.
We're gonna do
What
that
is it?
also.
Oh, yeah, this is the first one.
We're gonna do both.
Yeah, we're gonna do both. We're doing them separately.
So we're
This
spending
is Daily
more, so we're
Times.
spending more money.
Oh, look at us.
Well, I don't have a second, so,
Well, so, yeah,
the floor is closed. I am waiting for a second, and then we will have comments and questions. Do I have a second? I will repeat the motion. Motion to authorize solicitor to advertise arts and culture grant in Daily Times on or around October 1st, 2023. Is there a second? Motion dies.
so,
Motion to authorize solicitor to commence legal advertising in the Spirit owned by Spirit Media Incorporated.
Second.
second.
Questions and comments? For this specific motion or motions around advertising in general are accepted?
Well, I mean, I didn't second the Daily Times, but second the Spirit, because I'm just assuming Spirit is cheaper. Does that sound right?
I will find out.
I believe that's correct.
So, anyway, nobody knows the answer. That was my thinking.
Me
If anyone
too.
cares.
Me too.
Yeah. One of our ads cost over $400.
I thought they were running like $250 or something.
One of them was over 400.
Because of the amount
Long
of
text.
text, yeah.
They charge by the
Took a whole
line.
column.
Any other comments on this motion to authorize the solicitor to commence legal advertising in the Spirit owned by Spirit Media Group Incorporated?
So the Spirit is good enough. What's that?
Go ahead, no, go ahead, Ron.
I mean, we only have to advertise,
Yes.
we're required to advertise it, and, advertising one or the other is
Sufficient.
legally
One
sufficient.
is the minimum requirement.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. Motion to authorize solicitor to advertise arts and culture grant in the Spirit on or around October 1st, 2023.
Second.
Second.
Second. Thank you. Questions or comments?
Isn't that what we just did?
No, this was just for him to commence this,
Oh, got it. Yep.
but this is for the specific motion.
I'm all caught up.
Yeah. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay. Motion to, this should say, excuse me, this should say subject to county council approval. And it's not in the minutes, but I
Well,
will add it, okay?
Yeah.
Is that fine?
You can do it.
I'm doing
That's
it.
fine.
Okay. Motion to approve special grant of $20,000 for mural arts installation in Lansdowne Borough, subject to county council approval.
Second.
Questions or comments?
It's wonderful.
I would,
It is. I read the whole proposal, I read the letters, and I think it's wonderful. And
thank
I
you.
can't wait for us to be there for the dedication.
I sincerely appreciate that, and I would like to, again, if the board should see fit to approve, thank the board for their support and also for their patience and understanding with me. There are a number of aspects of this grant that are very personal to me, not the least of which is that Leroy Burrell was breaking world records when I was a 12-year-old kid. So he's a childhood idol of mine, and Rap Curry is, of course, a personal friend who is recently deceased. So in addition to having worked with the Lansdowne Borough government and having a lot of confidence in them and their ideas and their execution, so I appreciate the board's patience with me as I was very full-throated in my support of this proposal. So thank you for that.
I just want to add, I am in support of this motion. All of our special grants have some type of multi-municipality benefit. I think this will benefit all of the small communities that are, where this park is open to all of those communities. In some parts of the county, that's not necessarily true. Also, I believe that this will be a permanent, or close to permanent as you can say, visual arts indication, whereas some of the our arts grants are mostly for programming, or other arts programs. So I think it's a good combination of a permanent visual exhibition and along with our regular arts and culture grants. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. At this time, we'll open up the meeting for public comment. There is no public comment. At this time, we'll open up the meeting for authority comments.
So my only comment is that we will have the new director of the Delaware County Literacy Council coming to our next meeting. So that should be on the agenda. And I know I'm looking forward to meeting her.
Absolutely.
All right, at this time, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned at 3:10.